Friend is mad my brother won't date her. My sister has this friend named Liza, both 26. Liza has always had a crush on our brother Philip. Philip is 33 and has no kids. Liza has 3 kids by 2 different men. So my sister Liza and I were doing some early Christmas shopping. I was going down the list of what I was planning on getting everyone. When Philip came up, Liza said I should get him coal. I asked why. She tells me that she has been dropping hints to Philip that they should spend time together during the upcoming holidays. Philip wasn't picking up her hints, so Liza flat out asked him to be with her during Thanksgiving and Christmas, like get to know her and her kids and family during the holidays. Philip told her no. He usually spends time out of the country anyway. So I asked Liza if she thinks Philip should get Cole because he rejected her. And she says, honestly, I kinda always thought Philip was gay, but now I got other suspicions. I looked at my sister in the rearview mirror like, you're not gonna check your friend? So my sister asks, what suspicions? Liza said, don't play dumb, y'all. If an adult man doesn't like adult women, there's only 2 other options. I saw my sister wasn't going to say anything to her, so I did. I asked her, so because my brother doesn't want to be with you, he's either gay or a pedo? She said, it's not even that he doesn't want to be with me. He won't even give it a chance. That's weird and not fair. He won't give us a chance because I have kids? So I'm like, yeah, if Philip dated you, he'd become an immediate dad. Like day 1. That's crazy responsibility for anyone. Then Liza cuts me off and is like, Philip is a 33-year-old man and needs some damn responsibility. She was yelling, so I yelled back, his responsibility is not gonna be your damn kids. Then my sister finally speaks up, just to tell us to calm down, and I was getting taken home. I get home and was telling my mom and Philip about it. We had a laugh. It's just crazy she's upset my brother won't date her. She tries to slander his name, calling him a possible pedo or a gay man because he has no interest in her. Edit. I keep getting asked why I hang with Liza. Liza's my sister's friend. My sister is going through mental health and addiction issues. My sister is not ready for help. We can't force her to do anything, so we just keep her close to make sure she's safe. She's family. Liza's a friend that comes in and out of my sister's life. When she's out, my sister is fine and works to better herself. When she's in, my sister finds herself in chaos and trouble. I also got asked about my brother's feelings towards the pedo comment. He literally doesn't care. He's got a job in another country and will be out of the USA by February. You could slap him right now and you wouldn't ruin his day. Please stop asking why I didn't drive myself. Cars are expensive and I'm poor. Someone pointed out a pedophile joke. I didn't even catch it. My brother's name is actually Philip. I can see why Philip doesn't want to date her. Can't expand on that. We can see why she's single. If she was comfortable saying this to his family, I wonder what she says behind y'all's back about him. I wouldn't let her around your family and brother anymore. My brother is always on the go. She rarely sees him. Then your sister definitely needs a better friend. Maybe your sister hates your brother? No, she doesn't hate him, just lives a lifestyle where she's surrounded by crappy people. We try to help my sister, but she's not ready to change. So we just keep an eye or 2 on my sister. Looks like Philip isn't the one who needs to learn some responsibility. You joke, but she literally acts like everyone around her is supposed to help with her kids. Always talking about a damn village and how there is none nowadays. Like, how about you seek their fathers for help? Next story. Older sister thinks she deserves my bride price money. Everyone in this post is over age 30. I am engaged to my fiancé. I am Asian and he's white. In my culture, we have what's called a bride price. It's an agreed upon, by both parties, amount of money the groom pays to the bride's parents, or a sibling if parents are deceased. In my culture, our weddings last 2 days, and are long and tedious. So I've made it clear to my fiancé from the beginning that we'd be having an American wedding instead, and he's fine with it. My sister thinks we are having a wedding in my culture, despite me telling her at least twice in the past that it'll be an American wedding. Long background short, all my many siblings basically left the burden of taking care of our parents to me not too long after I finished high school. My dad has passed away for over a decade now, so it's just been my mom and me. They neither extended a helping hand nor barely helped. Even when my mom asked them for just errands for her, and they always deferred it back to me. Even when my elderly mom had a stroke and needed 24/7 care, I told them I would need help. They all said they'd help but didn't. Even my brother, who lived with us at the time, barely helped. My mom is in a nursing home now getting proper care, as she also developed dementia after her stroke. My mom, of course, cannot handle finances. My sister messaged me the other day and wedding planning came up, and she mentioned the wedding in my culture, since my fiancé and I haven't really planned anything, as a wedding is not a priority. I told her I won't be having a wedding in my culture because none of my siblings deserves the money. She told me she deserves the money because she helped take care of me when I was younger, 8-year age gap between us. Spoiler, she got married not too long after finishing high school and moved out of state to live with her husband, so she literally only helped my parents babysit me here and there until maybe I was 10, or not even 10. Y'all, my brain stalled and I could not think of where the audacity came from, and every time I think of it, I still can't wrap my mind around the entitlement. So now wedding plans have changed and she is no longer invited and won't know any of my plans either. You should record the conversation or keep screenshots of emails and texts. Then go, "Mom is still alive. In our culture, a bride price goes to the parents first, and then only if they've both passed would you even be considered. Shame on you for wishing for our mother to die so you could get some money. If there was a bride price to be paid, it would be to Mom, and to pay off any bills for her care." The issue with this is that if the mother passes before the wedding, now you're in a worse position to argue. If you establish it was never going to happen, you're at least consistent. If you say this but then the mom dies, now you're retracting it, and the sister can claim it was a personal slight to her. Lol, if she wants to pull that Asian card, she's not a member of your original family anymore. She's whatever her husband's family is. What would give her the right? Even if you observe the culture, it would go mom, then the oldest brother. Tell her that your husband's culture is different, and as a matter of respect to his culture, you are not going to ask him to pay the bride price money. Do not argue further or invite her to the wedding. That's exactly what I said to my fiancé, because if we were to go by his culture, it's me paying. So I said to make it easy, he and I will not be doing any type of price, and we'll just shoulder the expenses together. I also told my sister this, and she ignored it and didn't reply to it LOL. Ha, it sounds like you're handling all of this with maturity. Your sister isn't owed anything, and if she isn't paying for the wedding, then she doesn't even deserve to know who paid for what and where any money went. Is your mom able to understand what's happening? Please try to keep her out of the drama, and if your sister brings her into it, that's all the more reason your sister is placing personal greed above the respect that your mom and your traditions merit, even those you don't choose to incorporate into your new mixed background family. You are a good daughter. I'm sure your mom is proud of you and grateful for all you continue to do to honor her. Next story. Refused to let my sister move into my house after she accidentally told my fiancé I had doubts about the wedding. I, 29 female, am getting married next year, and while I'm excited, the stress has been getting to me. Between planning, budgeting, and trying to keep everyone's opinions in check, I've been stretched thin. My fiancé, 31 male, has been wonderful through it all, but the pressure from my family has been its own headache. My older sister Jess, 34 female, has always been dramatic. She enjoys being involved in everything and often finds a way to make situations about her. She recently went through a breakup and has been very emotional. About a week ago, she asked if she could stay with us for a few weeks while she got back on her feet. I told her we could discuss it, but I never agreed. With all the wedding stress, having her live with us wasn't something I wanted to commit to right away. 2 nights later, my fiancé approached me looking hurt and confused. He asked, "Why didn't you tell me you were having doubts about the wedding? Why did I have to hear it from Jess?" I felt completely blindsided. I have 0 doubts about marrying him. I never said anything close to what he was describing. After talking it through, he finally admitted Jess had told him I wasn't sure the wedding should even happen and that I felt pressured into saying yes. None of that is true. She presented it like she was worried for him and thought he deserved to know. When I confronted her, she didn't deny it. Instead, she doubled down with, "You get defensive when people try to help. Maybe deep down you do have doubts. She acted like she knew my feelings better than I did. That was the last straw. I told her she was not welcome to stay with us and that what she did was manipulative and damaging. She immediately started crying, accusing me of abandoning her in her time of need. My mom took her side right away and told me I was choosing a man over my own blood. I told them both that lying to my partner is a massive betrayal, and I don't care how hard things are for Jess. She's not moving in. Now half my family is calling me heartless and saying weddings make people overreact. But honestly, I feel like I finally drew a boundary that should have existed years ago. Your sister didn't accidentally say anything. She planted a bomb and hoped it would go off in your relationship, so she could insert herself as the savior. Anyone who lies to your fiancé about your feelings has no business living under your roof. Protect your peace and your marriage. Lonely, miserable, manipulative Jess. Her mother should have named her Sabotage. Yes, OP is doing right by kicking her all the way back to Mama Heartless' house. You need to stop telling your sister anything of importance. She can't keep her mouth shut. Your family trying to guilt-shame you is repulsive. Tell them to mind their own business. Let your sister stay with your mom or other relatives. She's disloyal, manipulative, and a bad seed. Be done with her. Not disagreeing that OP should stop telling her sister things, but this isn't a case of sis failing to keep a secret. This is sis not being told a single thing of concern. So she made something up entirely and deliberately lied to her soon-to-be brother-in-law in an attempt to sabotage the relationship. Whether OP tells sis things or not isn't really the point when sis will just lie either way. They are forgetting that it's not just your home, it's his too. Yet she lied to him, made him doubt your relationship, and still thinks you should let her live with the two of you? Tell one of your family members to let her live with them if they're so concerned about her. They know how she is and don't want to house her either. That's why they are trying to guilt OP into housing her. Funny how not even the mom doesn't want the sister to stay with her. Last story. I, 27 female, broke up with my boyfriend, 29 male, partly because of his relationship with his sister, 25 female. Help me understand if I was appropriate, please. I need some perspective because I've been feeling confused and invalidated about this for a long time. I recently broke up with my boyfriend of almost 2 years, and one major reason was his relationship with his sister, who he lives with, and his mom. I've always felt something was off, but anytime I tried to bring it up, he acted like I was crazy, jealous, or just didn't understand their closeness. Now that I'm out of it, I want to check if my concerns were valid or if I was truly overreacting. Here are the behaviors that made me uncomfortable. 1. His sister acted territorial toward him, especially toward me. She made comments that felt competitive or protective in a weird way. Examples: when she showed me a picture of a guy she was talking to, I said, "Oh, he's cute." And she immediately responded with something implying I needed to respect her brother, even though I wasn't talking about him at all. Another time when we were talking about men in general, I said some guys don't know what they're doing in bed, and she instantly said, "Are you talking bad about my brother?" in a defensive tone. She is always for some reason talking about sex. I never start talking about that to other people. She always gave me the feeling that she was ready to defend him from me even when I wasn't attacking him. In front of him, she would ask weird questions, such as, "Have you had other boyfriends in the past? Why did you break up?" and make comments trying to make me look bad. 2. She constantly called him for attention, even when he was with me. If he came to see me, she would call him, to show him where she was, to show him who she was with, to gossip, to involve him in her drama, to FaceTime him into hangouts with her friends. It often felt like she needed his attention or validation in a way that wasn't normal sibling check-ins. I always felt she would compare herself to me. I am thin and she is not, and she would randomly start talking about how she used to be thin like me in the past and would make suggestions on how I can be prettier, like, "I just bought these fake lashes that would look good on you too," even though I never wear fake lashes. We have very different styles. If I ask him to come to a room with me to help me with something, she'd call him minutes later to pull him back to her. It started to feel like I was competing for basic emotional space. 3. She and the family made sexual or inappropriate comments about him. I would find this weird because my family doesn't really joke about sex, and I don't talk about my sexual experiences with my brother. His sister would comment on his butt and slap it. Say stuff like, if he wasn't my brother, I'd date him. Make sexual jokes around him. Talk about sex openly and directly with him. The whole family had this boundary-less dynamic I just couldn't understand. It didn't feel like normal teasing or sibling joking. It felt like they didn't understand where the lines are. 4. He minimized everything, even when it clearly made me uncomfortable. Anytime I brought up my concerns, he'd say things like, "She didn't mean it like that. You're overthinking. You're being weird. She's just close to me. That's just how we talk." He never acknowledged how inappropriate some of the interactions were. Instead, he made me feel like I was the one with the problem. 5. I felt constant pressure to be accepted by his family. He told me repeatedly, "They don't know you. You should try harder. My family's opinion matters. I want you to be close with them." His mom and sister were disrespectful and dramatic with other partners in the family too, most recently making his older brother's new wife cry at a family reunion. The mom calls me to gossip and talk bad about her, but I don't engage. They've had problems with nearly every girlfriend his siblings have brought home, and I honestly didn't want to be the next target. But he acted like it was my responsibility to win them over, not his responsibility to protect me or create boundaries. 6. I didn't want to marry into a family dynamic that felt intrusive and boundaryless. When I finally said out loud that I didn't want to marry into this dynamic and that I found his relationship with his sister weird, he didn't believe me. He thinks their closeness is normal and that I'm misinterpreting everything. The reason I'm posting is because I feel guilt or something for feeling weirded out about their relationship since they're siblings, but it just feels off to me. I don't know if I am wrong or the a-hole for telling him he has a weird relationship with his sister and that I don't want to marry into that. Boyfriend to OP, you don't understand our closeness. OP to boyfriend, you're right, I don't. This doesn't work for me. Cheers. The end. If something doesn't sit with you, it doesn't. You can break up for any reason. It takes two people to be together and one to leave, and the only reason needed is, this is not making me happy anymore. This reminds me of a Friends episode, the one with Danny the Yeti and his sister. Nope, that family is weird. Good thing you got out of there. I have 3 older sisters, and as a younger brother, my body freaking recoils at the idea that they'd act this way toward me. A real close siblings dynamic. As a guy who lived with his older sister alone for 2 years, we shared uni dorms, would only go with mildly embarrassing sexual comments at most. Like when she'd come home late, I'd say, "Wow, wild night, huh?" And she'd tell me to F off. They're freaking weird touching each other, and that if they weren't family member, I'd bang them comment? You. Am I the a-hole for not forgiving my sister for sleeping with my boyfriend after he made her sick? I'm 22 and used to date Cole, 22 male. We knew each other our whole lives and started dating in high school. 3 years ago, I found out Cole and my sister Millie, 21 female, were sleeping together. I broke up with Cole and went no contact with Millie. She wasn't really sorry anyway, so it's not like she was crying and begging me to forgive her. Our parents were more upset than she was, and they knew it too. Millie never knew Cole cheated on me with others as well. I found out after our relationship ended, and I didn't even confront him. I just got tested and was lucky not to have caught anything from him. Millie and Cole were together until Millie found out she was HIV positive, and that Cole had been cheating on her their whole relationship. She decided to regret what she did after her life fell apart. She reached out to apologize, but I ignored her. She's already blocked, and I have nothing to say to her. She can cry about her diagnosis and Cole being an a-hole to someone else. Millie told everyone about what happened. My parents stood by me and said she had no right to expect forgiveness or a relationship with me. But my mom's 2 siblings are telling me how important siblings are and how I need to forgive her. They said she was so young and that I should make room for forgiveness for that reason and not let Cole destroy us. My uncle also said that as the older sibling, I should be able to soften my heart to her, since it's my job to look out for her and that I failed by not getting her away from Cole. I told him to F off with that nonsense and muted my aunt and uncle for now. Mom told her siblings to leave me alone. They said I should know better than to hold an 18-year-old's screw-up, one that she now has to live with for the rest of her life, against her. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. You are only a year older than her, and she was very young. Good siblings are important. Bad siblings are therapy fodder. Not the a-hole. Also, and no offense, but it's not like either of you are grown up now. You're still in your early 20s. It's only been a few years. Your frontal lobes haven't yet fully developed. Come back in your mid-30s, and she might be able to make a sincere apology to you and rebuild a relationship, if you want that. Not the a-hole. You were betrayed. You don't have to forgive anything. Where was all this your family talk when she was banging your boyfriend? I'm glad you got away from both of them. Tell your aunt and uncle that until your sister sleeps with their partners, if not biologically related, they have no say. My aunt and uncle weren't exactly rallying around me. My parents supported me though. I'm glad your parents supported you. And I'm also glad you got away from that cheating POS and prevented yourself from getting sick. I was really lucky too. He was screwing around a lot and I had no idea at the time. Who knows how many people he got sick with his actions. Next story. Am I the a-hole for staying anonymous after reporting my sister and her husband to CPS? My sister met her husband when she was pregnant with another man's child. She never told anyone in the family who the father is, other than saying he was an ex. She never told him about their child either. When she was asked about this, she said he didn't want to be with her anymore, so screw him, and that she'd met someone better anyway. She told us her husband, then boyfriend, was going to be the father of her baby, and he said he'd step up. They got engaged while she was still pregnant, and she wanted to get married before her son was born. He said no. Once these discussions were brought up around us, it became very clear my sister lied, and he had no desire to be a father to her son. He corrected anyone who asked if he was excited to be a father and snapped at the suggestion that my sister's son could be his junior. My sister stayed with him anyway and left the father blank on my nephew's birth certificate. My nephew was one when my sister and her husband got married. My sister's husband refused to include my nephew in any way, and when photos of the three were suggested, he said the wedding was for them, not him, my nephew. They had their first child together several months later, and another within a year. His mistreatment of my nephew has become even more blatant since he had children with my sister. He doesn't want any of his money going toward my nephew, and he refuses to let my nephew stay home with him and the other kids if my sister is busy. My sister has paid for a babysitter to come to her home while he's there with the other kids, because he said he would let my nephew starve. He's warned others to keep an eye on doors and windows, because he wouldn't stop my nephew from running out in front of the car or falling out an open window. I have babysat a few times and noticed no bruises, so to my knowledge there's no physical abuse. But there are threats of it. My sister buries her head in the sand. She defends her husband but also tells my nephew he's daddy, while he grumbles at my nephew every single time he calls him that. I did speak to my sister, and she wasn't receptive to hearing how awful it is. I was afraid to rock the boat too much and be pushed out, so I decided to anonymously report to CPS. They investigated but didn't find anything to warrant removing my nephew from my sister and her husband. When I reported, she had a bad run-in with a babysitter and some neighbors over how my nephew gets treated, so she's not sure who reported them. She swore that she would go ape on whoever it was when she found them. Because of this, I have stayed anonymous. I also called to find out more info on why nothing was done, and it comes down to my sister making sure my nephew is fed, and because he has a bed and no bruises or marks on him to suggest physical abuse. My sister said they told her it was an anonymous report and that the person was a coward for hiding. Some of my family agreed with her and meant it, which was disappointing. Everyone else keeps quiet and doesn't seem to care much. That's one big reason why I stayed anonymous. I know I will never see my nephew again if my sister finds out it was me, and I don't know if anyone else will speak up if things get worse for him. Am I the a-hole for staying anonymous, though? The consensus in my family appears to be that it's cowardly and pathetic to stay quiet if you felt brave enough to report in the first place. Not the a-hole. Stay anonymous but keep a close eye on your nephew. Let him know, when he is the right age, that you are a safe space. And quite frankly, neglect is abuse. I agree with you, but with his basic needs met and no signs of physical abuse, it doesn't appear to be a case CPS cares for. I worry, though. With how strongly my sister's husband despises my nephew, it could be the smallest thing that leads to tragedy. He admits he wouldn't stop him from being hurt by someone else, so it's not a huge jump to say he might do physical harm on his own. I hope not, but I will keep my eyes open. As a mandated reporter, you're not the a-hole. You did everything to make sure that you can continue to look out for your nephew and keep him safe. If you told your sister, she would likely not have anything to do with you, and there would be nobody to protect your nephew. It's devastating that your sister allows her son to be treated this way. I'd probably go no contact with them when that kid turns 18, not from the nephew though, but that's just me. Disgusting behavior from the two of them. I want to. It's so hard to sit there and be all smiles and pretend to get along. But do too much, and I get put on no contact, and then nobody is looking out for my nephew. I just hope I can do enough to keep him alive and unharmed physically. Poor kid. Stay quiet and be ready to support when it gets worse. Your brother-in-law is a POS, not the a-hole. My sister too. She knew when she was pregnant how he felt, and she begged him to marry her and stayed even when he didn't give a crap about my baby nephew. This guy has been around since day one, and he hates a little baby. It's sick, and she knows and chooses to pretend things are great. Is there anyone in the family who could take in this little boy and give him love? I don't think that'll work. My sister would never willingly let him go, and if anyone pushed too hard like me, she'd get suspicious. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my dad he'll ruin our relationship if he puts his wife before what's best for me and my brother? I, 16 female, have an 18-year-old brother, and our parents have been divorced for about 12 years. My parents always got along really well after the divorce. They threw us birthday parties together, celebrated Christmas together, and would talk about us and keep things good. My brother has medical issues, and they would be in the same room with him when he was sick or had a doctor's appointment. They also weren't those divorced parents who needed to schedule different times to speak to teachers. We were told we were the most important to them, and they never wanted us to feel caught in the middle. Overall, though, my parents didn't spend a lot of time together, but they could spend time together and did when it was for us. I liked how they did that, because it was nice to celebrate stuff with my whole family, and my brother loved that he didn't have to pick which parent came to see him when he was in the hospital. When I was 11, my dad got married again. His wife and us didn't get along super well, but not super bad either. She was included in the stuff with our parents, like birthday parties, Christmas, and other events. She was never very nice to Mom, though. And now my brother and I found out she doesn't approve of Dad and Mom talking or being in the same room. She doesn't like joint Christmas celebrations or birthday parties. She thinks everything should be separate, and my dad's actually thinking of doing it. They told me and my brother a couple of weeks ago. My brother stormed out and told Dad he wasn't dealing with that BS. Dad told me he knew it would be an adjustment, but it was for his wife. I asked him why she mattered more than us. He said she doesn't, but it's different because we're older now. So I was like, I have to have 2 weddings, 2 birthdays, 2 baby showers, and everything else in the future? His wife said yes, and Dad said that's not what she's asking. They spoke at the same time, so Dad changed what he said and told me we'd talk about it more. I asked about my brother being in the hospital, and she said he's an adult now, so it's not like Mom or Dad even need to be there. My dad said to let things be figured out more first. I told him why bother, and that he should know if he does this. If he puts her before us, then he'll ruin our relationship. The rest of the week at my dad's house was weird. My mom knows about it, and I told her I don't want to go to Dad's house if he's going to do this. She told me I'd have to go until a judge says otherwise, but she did speak to her lawyer and filed in court to see if we can let it be my choice. My dad's wife is angry at me and my brother for not accepting this, and she told me I put my dad in a bad position to lose one of us. Dad keeps saying we need to talk about this more, but I feel like he just wants me and my brother to accept what his wife wants. Am I the a-hole? And she told me I put my dad in a bad position to lose one of us. The one wanting to change things is responsible for the consequences, not the a-hole. Tell them there will be no duplicate events, but you can stop inviting them if they would like that. So I was like, I have to have 2 weddings, 2 birthdays, 2 baby showers, and everything else in the future. His wife said yes. I just uninvite her from all future events. He can either be at you and your brother's events with your mom and have a relationship with you, or he can F off. Throw an ultimatum his way and watch him squirm. Coward putting his junk before his own children. Not the a-hole. If his wife is so insecure that she can't deal with her husband being around his ex, then she shouldn't have married him. She knew what the situation was when they got together. She had plenty of time to walk away if she wasn't happy with the dynamics. I think you and your brother should try talking to Dad again, without her present. Reiterate to him that neither of you are happy with this. If she doesn't want to be around your mom anymore, that's absolutely fine. She can miss all of the events and special occasions, but you aren't having to. So he can either choose to show up and be in his kids' lives or not. But make sure he understands that if he doesn't, he shouldn't act surprised in a few years when he doesn't see or hear from either of you anymore. We can try talking to him alone about this, but I wonder if that'll be allowed, or if she'll be included regardless. Maybe she doesn't like the idea of him being around us without her either. Last story. Am I the a-hole for apparently being the reason my ex's engagement ended? I, 27 female, have a 6-year-old child with my ex, 29 male. We've been broken up since our child was 1. I have primary custody. My ex sees our child 2 weekends a month. The reason for this is that my ex decided he didn't want to give up his whole life to be a parent and thinks every other weekend is enough. I should also note that he doesn't always take his weekends and has let our child down in the past. 3 years ago, he started dating someone else and they got engaged in February of this year. Once they were engaged, I started getting calls and texts from an unknown number and I found out it was his fiancée. He had told her I would be open to her coming over and taking my child out for the day, and he gave her my numbers so we could plan this. He never mentioned it to me, and it took entirely too long for me to figure out what was going on. Getting a bunch of texts from an unknown number saying, "Answer the damn phone! Call me. I'd like to meet up and figure this out," is not something I expected. When I did answer a call from her, she was set on taking my child out for the day and told me my ex said it was okay. I told her it was not okay, that I didn't know her, and that I wasn't going to hand my child over to someone like that. Then I suggested she make the most of the time my ex has. This was not a popular answer with her, and she had my ex using our co-parenting app to send request after request for me to let his fiancée take our child out for the day. My ex told me in July that I was saying no too much, and it was ruining his relationship. Last month, his fiancée ended their engagement and broke things off with him. She blamed me via text and said she was not going to stay in a hostile environment where she was treated like stranger danger toward the child she was supposed to be the stepmother of. My ex blamed me for this too. He accused me of sabotaging his relationship and chasing away potential stepmothers from our child's life. I told him I didn't give a damn about his relationships. What I cared about was having someone I don't know feeling entitled to take my child from my home. Then I pointed out he was the reason she believed she could in the first place. Instead of just moving on and accepting what happened, he is telling everyone I broke them up. Some of his buddies are quick to say something when they see me. I think most people see it as BS because he's not a very involved father to begin with. I did have a mom friend in a group I'm part of tell me I kind of did sabotage his relationship because the woman he was with was trying to know my kid, and I didn't let her. She said I had no reason to say no like I did once I knew who was texting and calling and what she wanted. This turned into a small fight because I asked her if she'd be okay with it, and she told me she would. She said most single moms with primary or full custody would love for their kids to have people who want to take care of them. She said it was my ego that made me break them up because I didn't want my child to have a stepmom. I still think it's crazy to blame me, and I think it's also crazy to say I should have agreed to this. But I'm willing to be big enough to ask if I'm wrong and accept if people think I am. So, do you think I broke up his relationship? Am I the a-hole for saying no to her taking my kid for the day on my parenting time? I am so curious. She's basically a stranger, and he expects you to just hand over your child to her? She was a stranger. We had not met once when she started texting and calling. She didn't even ID herself when she was doing it, so I was getting calls and texts from who knows who. It could have been a scam for all I knew. Your mom friend is an idiot who didn't listen to a word you said. A close and trusted friend who knows your child may well give you a child care break, but some hassly woman whom you've never laid eyes on? No one would want that. Not the a-hole. You didn't break them up. His poor relationship skills with you, your child, and his now ex-girlfriend have caused all of this. He is apparently poison in anyone's life. And I imagine most of his friends who bother to learn all the facts about this would agree with you. I'm not so sure about his friends. I think they'd all side with him regardless, but who knows? Maybe if and when they have their own kids, their opinions will change. My ex-wife predicted my future in painful details, and I can't sleep at night because of it. We are legally still married. We are both 45 and have been together for 20 years. She was the love of my life until I met my current girlfriend, and that's when I realized that I had been stagnating for years. My new girlfriend, 30, was happy and exciting. She was wild and drove me crazy. I finally remembered what it was like to feel alive with her, and she understood me. She never complained and never nagged, always positive. When my ex-wife found out, she laughed in my face and told me how disappointing I was. Leaving your wife of 20-something years for a 20-something? How original. I told her it wasn't her age. She laughed even harder. Let me guess, because she cares about her looks? Because she's so positive and adventurous? Then she said, when reality hits, don't come running back. When she stops blowing you in the most wild places because she knows she doesn't have to now. When she realizes that she wants more and asks for more. When your answers and actions aren't good enough for her. When she stays in bed scrolling her phone all weekend because now that she has you, she doesn't need to pretend to be oh so adventurous anymore. Remember that you haven't traded up. I didn't believe her, and she laughed at that too. She said, remember how our story started? The love and respect we had? Look how it ended. How do you think this one, that started by hurting the people closest to you, will end? That was 9 months ago. Now I haven't spoken to my girlfriend for 2 days. She moved in with me 3 months ago, and I have never been this miserable. The fights and nagging, the constant scrolling on her phone day and night with zero effort or energy for any adventure, the demands and small fights about trivial things. I know that moving in together can be emotional and unstable, but I feel that I have no feelings for this woman. I have nothing to say to her. I don't even like her. I just keep thinking of my wife and how she knew all this. I pretend that everything is great when I'm with people. I act like I'm so in love, but I'm dying inside. She predicted everything, and I miss and love her and think about her every single day. And because I'm not a good person, I told my girlfriend this. I don't know why I felt the need to tell her. Maybe because she called my ex old and bitter? I told her that I will never love her like I do my ex. That took her down to earth real quick. I am sick of myself. Now for the comments. Man, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side because it's fertilized with shit. The biggest issue why I think people cheat, they compare their spouse at their worst to the affair partner at their best. When they are experiencing the day-to-day mundane with the affair partner, then it hits home what a poor trade they made. The honeymoon effect. Honestly, how much time are you spending with your side piece to actually see how a whole week is with them? There's more than sex to a relationship. There's the daily choices we make. All the little tiny parts that keep a marriage or partnership together. Side pieces don't have to deal with that. They can sit there and reap the rewards till wife or husband leaves, and then cheater expects the side piece to take over those small choices. Then it falls apart real freaking fast. Exactly. Affairs skip the hard parts: bills, chores, bad moods, real life. Once the fantasy becomes routine, the spark dies and the truth shows. Most people don't want a new partner. They want the version of themselves they were in the beginning. The grass is greener where you water it. I'm dying to know how your ex-wife is doing. My ex-wife watered it. I did nothing. It was all her. I bet she did. How is she doing? Got any kids? I heard that she was hurt and her heart broken from her friends. I hope she is better now. She is a very strong woman. No kids. I guess this is one of the reasons. I changed my mind about being child-free, or I thought I did. You changed your mind about being child-free when you and your wife were in your 40s? After decades together? That's insane and cruel. I'd guess you were just trying to justify dating a much younger woman, because she's still young enough to start a family, and maybe you might want that. No, you wanted something fun with zero effort. Fafo, buddy. Enjoy growing old alone and miserable. I hope your ex-wife finds a man who puts in as much effort as she does. I'm assuming your wife is still divorcing you? As you know, this is the consequences of your own actions. Don't worry, it will get better. Your ex is going to start dating again. Yes, after 1 year of separation. Next story. My husband asked for an open marriage. I asked for a divorce. We had a week-long vacation planned to visit my grandmother for her 80th birthday. The day before we were supposed to fly out, I noticed his face looked worried. So I asked him, "It looks like you're about to break up with me." And I left and asked him what was going on. He asked me to sit down and listen to him. He started with, "Remember how you told me that your grandpa cheated on your grandmother and how, despite that, they've stayed together for a long time?" The conversation continued, and he basically said he wanted an open marriage. He told me that a month prior, he had joined a Discord server and met someone. He was her sub, and she was his dom. He said he wanted to pursue this and that. If I didn't want to, we could go our separate ways. Not once did he mention that he would drop her and stay with me. He let me go through the messages where he declared his desire for her, no matter the consequences. I'm sorry. I promise you it won't be a problem. Isabel, I feel deep in my soul that I'm meant to pursue you. It's an unwavering feeling that just keeps coming back. And I'm fully prepared to take that risk, that I might lose something to gain something better. I kept reading further, and their messages got more into role play. He told me that he had sent her $300 and that he was going to buy her a phone. He bought her the newest iPhone. He said he had also sent other women money, but he didn't tell me how much. I went numb. I still had to pack. I still had homework to do. I asked him to leave and be gone from our home by the time I was back. We continued to communicate via text message, and I tried to ask him questions, but he ended up stonewalling me. He said he had told me everything and that he didn't owe me any more information on the subject, that it was his own private matter. I asked him how it could be a private matter when we're married, but he never responded. I'm heartbroken, angry, and confused. There is no one in my life I can tell the details to. It's freaking embarrassing. Him having a midlife crisis at 27? We've been together for almost 9 years, and we have a 5-year-old daughter. I have yet to figure out what I am supposed to do. I am going to school to become a nurse, and I work 12-hour shifts on the weekends. I am also on the other side of the country, trying to figure it all out before my return. At which point does he wake up and realize he's being scammed by Isabel? That's the sad part. People get so caught up in some fantasy that they don't even see how deep the manipulation goes. It's wild how blind trust can turn into self-destruction so fast. My dad passed away in 2019, but in the late 1990s, we got him a computer and tried to get him online. This was prime AOL days, but he kept crashing it and just struggling with anything computer-related at all. It was a bit frustrating at the time, but kind of a blessing in hindsight. He'd have been easy pickings for some catfisher. I'm sorry, but if he used marital money, then go after him for it. It was both our money. We have a joint account. What's worse is that not too long ago, I was the sole provider because he had lost his job. I was working and going to school. He said that he also used some of that money during that time to give to random girls. I hope you have locked your bank account so he cannot drain any more money to spend on her. Remove your valuables from the home before you leave so he cannot take them while you are away. Make it very clear you are not your grandmother and speak to lawyers while you are visiting your grandmother. Yes, like seriously lock everything and don't leave a single thing to chance. I don't know if I'm panicking or just being smart, but either way, keep your stuff safe. Lawyers are definitely your vibe right now, LOL. Next story. My wife hid massive debt. My retirement dreams are ruined. I, 52 male, feel like I just got sucker punched by life, but there's no one coming to save me, so I'm just going to get on with it. I'm 52, and I thought I was about 5 years away from retiring. I've worked hard since I was 18, saved what I could, and kept things simple. No fancy cars, no luxury trips, no stupid toys, just quiet stability and a plan. Then a couple of weeks ago, everything changed. I found out my wife, 56 female, has been hiding an enormous amount of credit card debt for years, 6 figures worth. All of it is in her name, but that doesn't matter. The banks see it as ours now. She finally broke down and told me, terrified and ashamed, and I get it. Fear makes people do stupid things, but it doesn't erase the reality that the life we built was sitting on a financial time bomb. The dream I had of retiring at 57, maybe spending mornings fishing or traveling a bit, is gone. I did the math. And unless I want to live out of my car eating canned beans, I'll need to work another 10, maybe 12 years. If I'm lucky, I'll still have a job by then, though with AI creeping into everything, even that's not guaranteed. I'm a software engineer, but job security isn't what it used to be. I'm angry, but I don't even have the energy to yell anymore. It's like something inside me cracked, quietly and permanently. We're selling off some things, cutting back on every luxury, and I've already told my boss I'll be staying on past my original retirement plan. I'm not leaving my wife. We've been through too much together, and this isn't the line I'm drawing in the sand, but I can't deny it. Something in me broke when she told me the truth. I'll keep moving forward because that's what I do, but I know now that the version of life I imagined is gone for good. Your wife clearly doesn't have the same level of care for you that you give her. This thought process alone would eat me alive. Every bad day past retirement, every single time I'd think to myself, I'm too old for this shit, I'd be building resentment. Yeah, I'd divorce and retire as planned. There's loving your partner and there's loving someone who decided they were not going to be one. I really hope your wife is working right now and doesn't think she is going to be able to retire if you are not. She should be working full-time, and ideally taking extra shifts and a weekend job. She made this mess, so she should be the one working double time to fix it, not you. Also, I know you said you don't want to break up, but you really shouldn't just take it on the chin like this, OP. You really should reconsider getting a divorce, as this is really messed up and clearly shows you don't share the same goals, nor does she have respect for you and your goals. So my wife actually never returned to work after the kids grew up. She has just been a homemaker. However, this really hit home that she also needs to suffer due to the mess, and not just me. I will talk to her about getting a job, even if it's not a high-paying one. I think it will do wonders to help improve my morale about this. I'd make this a non-negotiable, OP. Don't let your wife be a victim about this either. She may have been scared to tell you, but apparently not too scared to blow all your money, and then some. Any job. Financial infidelity is as bad as emotional or physical infidelity. I'm sorry you got blindsided by this. If I were you, I'd take complete control over the finances and she should absolutely be going back to work. Yup, and in my opinion, your wife broke a critical rule in a healthy marriage, and that's communication. I'd sit down and discuss ways you two can work to only prolong retirement a couple of years by having her get a second job for a little bit. I'd also consider talking to the CC and seeing if they'd settle for less, just to get paid. Best of luck. Thanks. I am still making a plan to manage all this mess of credit cards that I didn't know existed. I will give them a call and see if there is anything that can be done to reduce the interest at the least. Last story. My husband left me and our kids. I'm so lost. I feel numb. We've been in a bad place recently. Struggling to pay bills, didn't have a car, had to move in with my mom. I'm beginning to think it was all planned. This past week, he called me while he was at work and told me to pack our stuff and get out quickly because our apartment was bringing the sheriff to kick us out. I didn't believe it, not really. We had gotten no notice, no court order about eviction. But I packed our stuff, and my mom helped us move in with her. I wouldn't risk my kids being locked out if it was true. The next day, my husband rented a car and disappeared. When he finally called me the next day, he claimed to be at a friend's house. He came back after work with a hickey he claimed was a bruise. Then 2 hours later, he left again for said friend's house. The next day, he said he needed a break. He was tired, stressed, and depressed. He left yesterday and went back to his hometown 2 hours away. He claimed he wanted to work on our marriage. But I woke up this morning, and he had changed everything. His Facebook profile was updated with him kissing an ex-girlfriend he knows I dislike because she came to our home 2 days after we had our first child trying to fight me. I don't know what to do. I want to fall apart. I'm 27 with 3 kids. I have barely any work history because he wanted me to stay home with the kids. I've had 4 jobs in 10 years, and all of them I had to quit within a month because of him. I don't have a diploma or GED. I'm living with my mother, and her house is falling apart and has 4 other adults living here too. I'm so scared. I'm trying so hard not to break down in front of my kids, but I'm terrified of losing them. Scared I won't be enough to provide for them or take care of them. I'm so lost. Firstly, you will get through this. It sucks right now, but you will. Secondly, you need to get angry. He screwed you over and is clearly an absolute piece of trash. Anger will save you. It's meant to. Screw him. Use the anger to get your life together. Thirdly, for Pete's sake, do not go back to him. He will not only screw you again 100%, but if you go back to him and need to leave later, people aren't going to be sympathetic. First time you get sympathy. Second time, I told you so. Third time, maybe grudging help. This is just facts. Fourthly, you just met the real him for the first time. Everything else was an act that served his interests. Hold on to that. 100% this. You're stronger than you think. You've got the hard part out of the way. You and your kids are safe at your mom's house. Now it's time to move forward. Cut him off. File for divorce. If he wants any time with the kids, let him go to court. Make arrangements with your mom to babysit so you can look for work. Thank God you found out who this man is now, not years down the road. Screw him. Do not take him back ever. People don't change. If he's done this to you once, he will do it again. You got this. I'll never go back to him. I've always told him cheating was a deal breaker. I went through hell with my parents' marriage and later their divorce when I was 12. I won't put my kids through the same thing. I'm already looking for work, but I'm scared to file anything. My mom's house is kind of falling apart. I'm applying for housing, but I'm terrified DHS will end up showing up and taking my kids. I do not want him having custody. He was absent even while in the same house. He's probably been cheating with that ex for some time and telling her he would leave you for her for just as long. She came to fight you after you had a kid, like you were the side piece. I'm positive he was. We ended his mom's memorial service last month, and she was there. After that, he started taking hour-long phone calls, claiming it was his cousin. I knew by then something was going on. But the story with her is a whole thing. Long story short, she was toxic, controlling, and always stealing his money. She left him and cheated the night his grandmother, who was his best friend, died. We got together months after that. When I got pregnant with our oldest, we chose his grandmother's name, and she started a whole campaign against me, claiming I stole her family. She showed up to fight me. She's insane, and I know he'll regret going back to her. Update. I'm so sorry, I don't know how to update or if anyone is particularly interested, but I need to vent. Things have escalated horribly in the past 3 days. My soon-to-be ex has been threatening to take my kids. He's living with his new girlfriend. I found out from his aunt that he's been telling everyone I left him for another man and that I was gone for an entire week the day after his mother's memorial. He's also been telling people that my own mother doesn't want me or our kids living with her, which is a bold-faced lie. My mom is the most supportive person there is. I've been trying to file for custody, but I can't find any legal aid that can help. I'm so stressed. I don't even know what to do now.